Okay, so I know last time we said that the next ranking would be Star Trek, but we really don't want to watch Nemesis. We're gonna wait because that movie's really bad. And so I thought, and then we were gonna rank Pixar, but we're gonna wait for that for a certain movie to come out. So we want to give you guys a quick little video, not a huge ranking, but a small one, just to let you guys have something. So we're gonna be ranking all the Spider-Man movies today. We're not ranking any video games, no comics, no shows, no books, none of that. We're just ranking the movies that were released in theaters, and we've seen all of them. If I were to rank the PS4 game, I'd probably put it maybe number 5. That game was pretty good, but I haven't played the new Miles Morales game, so I wouldn't be able to rank that. But yeah, this is every Spider-Man movie released in theaters ranked. Also, this is every movie released in theaters with Spider-Man in it, -1. So you start, Dad.
All right. So my number 10 was Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's the worst Spider-Man movie ever made. It ended the franchise, but it was good because it got Spider-Man back into the MCU, which is cool.
Because it was so terrible.
But terrible movie. It tried to lead into the Sinister Six, but it really didn't work out. Just a bad movie. They killed Gwen Stacy off in a stupid way. It was just stupid.
So, my number 10 is also Amazing Spider-Man 2. It is terrible. It is like the dialogue. The only good thing about the movie is that the suit looks good. It's probably the best suit in Spider-Man movie history, but who cares? It's still bad, and it was. They wanted to set up like their own Spider-Man universe. They wanted to make a Black Cat movie, Silver Sable movie, a Sinister Six movie. I think they were even talking about an Aunt May movie. Like what?
She's a spy or something.
Yeah, and it's like in the 40s. It's just stupid.
Who wants to see a 90-year-old spy?
Yeah. No, but the movie is so bad. Jamie Foxx is Electro, who is apparently coming back for Tom Holland's next Spider-Man movie.
I mean, hopefully he's good.
Maybe he'll look different. Maybe he won't look like Dr. Manhattan this time, and he'll look like actual Electro. But it was just terrible. And Rhino was in it for like 2 minutes. Gwen Stacy's death was like the most obvious thing in the world. Like when it happened, it's like, okay, like it's so obvious, And it was just so like Andrew Garfield. I think is a good actor, and I think he was we'll get to him as Spider-Man when we get to the first movie, but it was just terrible. It was so just the plot. There were like 5 different subplots going on at the same time. Peter Parker throws a calculator at the wall and he finds subway tokens that lead to his dad's research.
And the whole subway thing.
Yeah, and the movies make too much of a big deal about Peter Parker's parents, and it's like, who cares about Peter Parker's parents? Uncle Ben is his dad, Yeah. But yeah, just terrible movie. And they made Harry Osborn look like a meth head when he became Green Goblin. It was just terrible. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the worst Spider-Man movie.
The only thing I like about Uncle Ben is his rice. All right, my number 9.
I don't know what that means.
My number 9, Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't like the Andrew Garfield, too cool for school. I mean, Peter Parker's a nerd. That's what he's supposed to be. And this guy's like super cool. Like, hey, coolest guy in the world. Everybody wants to be his friend. Everybody wants to date him. That's not Spider-Man. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 is Venom.
Venom. I like Venom.
I like Venom too, but it sucks. It's not a good movie. It's Venom's really funny. It's real like it is real like it has some of the best lines ever. Like Venom's. By the way, this movie seems to think that the symbiote is Venom. Well, that's not true. Venom is when Eddie and the symbiote combine. It's not just the symbiote. That was stupid. But anyways, just the tragic backstory of back on my planet, I was like a loser or something. And it just makes no sense. Like, at one point, Venom and Eddie get separated, and Venom's like, hey, sorry, your planet's gonna die, and there's nothing I can do about it. Later, they get separated. They get back together after him and Venom make out, which was weird.
That was weird.
And Venom says, oh, you know what? I decided to stay. I'm going to help you with your planet. It's like, what convinced you to stay and help the planet? What? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And Tom Hardy, like, is like, I don't know what accent he was going for.
I like Tom Hardy in it.
Was he going for like a mentally disabled person with how his acting was? I really don't know. and Ronald McDonald's gonna be Carnage in the next movie.
I like that.
It was so bad. Like, I don't know why they made his hair look like that. It was Venom. I mean, I think it's funny, like unintentionally, but it's not a good movie, and it's my number 9. I hate it.
All right, my number 8, Homecoming.
Oh, you have Venom over Homecoming?
Homecoming, the most boring Spider-Man movie ever made. Just so boring.
I can't believe you put Venom. You put Spider-Man 3 over Homecoming. I can't believe this.
Homecoming, so boring.
Why was it boring?
I mean, nothing happens. Spider-Man walks around. He can't swing from anything.
Yes, he can. He swings from.
He's got like a Tony Stark suit instead of an actual Spider-Man suit.
You didn't like Michael Keaton?
Yeah, Michael Keaton's cool. I watched him in a lot of other movies. I liked him. Clean and Sober, great movie. Great movie.
I cannot believe you have Venom over Spider-Man Homecoming.
Homecoming. Don't watch it.
Mine. Okay, my number 8 might be a little actually no. Well, my number 8, Spider-Man 3, which is it's a emo Peter's really funny, and there's some funny parts. The dance scene is really funny. But other than that, the movie's really boring. Actually, a lot of it is quite dull. And the 3 villains, you've heard it before, but you have Harry Osborn, who gets amnesia and just gets like taken out of the movie until the end when his butler's like, "Oh yeah, your father, Spider-Man didn't actually kill him." It's like you waited 3 movies and a grenade explosion to the face to tell him that. Okay, I don't. Sandman. I think if the movie was just about Sandman, the movie would have been a lot better. But Venom was terrible in that movie when he says like, "I like being bad. It makes me happy." It's like. Oh my gosh, and it's just not a good movie. I mean, it's got some good parts, like some of the action's okay. I think what would have made the movie really good is if Harry was the villain by himself, then you would have had this like climactic showdown between Peter and Harry. That would have been emotional and all that. But instead, they wanted Venom and Sandman. It was too much. There's some great scenes in that movie, but it's very flawed, and it's my number 8. And yes, that does mean I have the first Amazing Spider-Man above Spider-Man 3. Deal with it, internet.
I got Spider-Man 3 a little higher, but okay.
Probably has it at number 1.
Number 7, Venom. So, good movie. I mean, it's so bad that it's good.
But it's not a good movie.
It's so bad that it's good. I enjoyed it. You got Venom, it's not really canon. It doesn't make any sense. Venom is supposed to come from Spider-Man and then become part of Eddie Brock, and that's why he hates Spider-Man and hates Peter Parker. So that part doesn't make any sense. But just the stupidness of it. It's like an 80s movie. Demolition Man comes to mind, except for now you have a symbiote that eats people. So, I mean, yeah, it's not high on my list, but it's better than boring as Homecoming.
Homecoming is not boring. I don't understand what you think is boring about that movie.
Right. So Venom, if you have time,
Yeah, I can't wait for the sequel. Number 7 is Amazing Spider-Man 1. I didn't hate it. I mean, it wasn't very good, but there was some stuff I liked. I liked the scenes between, even though I think having Gwen Stacy as the girlfriend in a movie is kind of a dumb idea because you already know she's gonna die. They were cute. They were cute scenes. And Lizard, I think Lizard could have been done a lot better. I feel like, I don't know. It was just Andrew Garfield. I don't buy him. I buy him as Spider-Man, kind of, but I don't buy him as Peter Parker. I don't buy him as this like real. One thing about Spider-Man is that he's really smart. I don't get the sense that this guy is really smart. I get the sense that this guy's on drugs and a skater, and There's some scenes I like, and I do enjoy some of it. But it's a very flawed movie. The best scene in the movie is where Peter Parker saves that kid from that car. That's a good scene. But it's not a great movie, but it's not the worst movie ever. It's like the definition of a 5 out of 10 movie. It's a movie that you're like, it's not terrible, but it's not really good. So yeah, that's my number 7. It's not great.
I agree with you. All right, so my number 6 is the Russo Brothers Spider-Man, and that's a combination of Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
That's my number 6
Spider-Man.
too.
Yeah, so he's a supporting character in that one. He's not really bad. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's supporting characters, so it's not his main role. I thought it was good. It kicked off Spider-Man in Civil War and Infinity War, and then where he died. Endgame where he comes back. He's a major player, but he's not the main antagonist or whatever. Was it antagonist? Protagonist. So, but yeah, he's up there. I like it. Good stuff.
Yeah, my number 6 is also that. Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. Civil War is where they introduce him, and he's really good in that movie. He has some really funny scenes, but he's not in it a lot. But he's good. But I think that Tony Stark calling on this random teenage kid to fight Captain America is a little weird. Infinity War, he's really good. He's really funny, and his death scene is it's really good. Tom Holland did a really good job acting in that scene. And then Endgame, when he shows up and he returns, it's a nice scene, and then he's crying about Tony Stark or whatever. It's fine. Tom Holland's a great actor in these movies. Spider-Man in them, he plays his part and he does a good job. And I think the Russo brothers, they know how to use him. They know how to where to put him and what to make him do. And having him die really was a really good scene. That's probably the best Spider-Man scene in the MCU, him dying.
Yeah, probably. My number 5 is Far From Home. I thought that was a pretty good Spider-Man movie. It's in the MCU. It's got Tom Holland. Holland. Yeah, that guy. I mean, he's okay. I thought it was cool. Mysterio was cool. I wish they had more of a dynamic where Mysterio didn't like Spider-Man for Spider-Man instead of Mysterio not liking Spider-Man because of Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it kind of sets up the Sinister Six, but like in a more organic way than they tried to do with when Sony tried to do it. So I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of action, a lot of cool stuff. I liked when he was fighting Mysterio and different aspects of it, where Iron Man was dead and came back as a zombie like in the comics. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, Far From Home, pretty good Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. My number 5 is Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1's good, but it's definitely dated. That's the thing about it. When you watch it now, it's still good. Like, it's not like the movie's terrible now or anything. It's just that there's a lot of silly stuff like, Norman Osborn, talking to his mask and skulls appearing out of nowhere. And, it's just really cheesy. But I think if you know what you're getting into with that movie, like I do, you'll have a good time with it. I think Peter Parker, I think my biggest issue with those movies is that, like, Spider-Man to me is about, like, a boy becoming a man. But throughout all 3 of those movies, like, he is such a wuss. He just gets, I don't know.
That's who Peter Parker is.
But I think Peter Parker should, like, be able, I don't know. I just thought he was, like, I feel, because when he becomes Spider-Man, he gains confidence, and he never does that. Throughout the whole franchise, he's just such a dork. and not, like, I get that Spider-Man's a nerd, but he's such a dork. Like, the things this
That's
kid's...
what he's supposed to be.
Maybe in the first one, yeah, but he should develop as a character, but he never does.
So this is the first one.
But he's like that throughout the other 2.
Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Okay, anyways, so I think Spider-Man 1's a good movie, and it's like, it's okay, but whoops. Yeah. It's funny. As a comedy, it's a really good movie, but, I mean...
Good movie.
Cheesy. Very cheesy. Sam Raimi. Good director. And Sam Raimi is making the next Doctor Strange movie, so...
Should be good.
If Tobey Maguire shows up in that movie as a cameo, especially since they're doing, like, the multiverse...
That'd be nice.
I'd freak out. So, yeah. That's my number 5.
All right. Number 4, Spider-Verse. Good movie. I like the way they use Spider-Man. They had the other Spider-Mans come in. They had Spider-Gwen. I really thought the movie was going to be bad, but when I went to go see it, it was actually really good.
Why did you think it would be bad?
I thought it was going to be like a Nickelodeon movie, like whatever. But the animation was cool. They had Kingpin in it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a really good movie. Well made, well researched. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. My number 4 is Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming is, I don't know why this guy thinks it's boring. I mean, he likes Venom, so can you really trust him? I mean, I think it's really funny. It's a good comedy, but, like, intentionally. And Tom Holland's great, and Michael Keaton just hits a home run. Yeah, the Tony Stark suit was kind of overkill, and I don't like how closely Tony Stark is linked with Peter Parker in the MCU. Yeah. One thing, I'll get to that when I get to Far From Home, but Homecoming is a good movie. Yeah, I will say the worst part about that movie is the action. It's not shot very well. You can't even tell what's happening sometimes.
Yeah, you can't tell what's happening.
It's really bad. But I think the movie works as like a teen comedy. I just hope that as these Tom Holland movies, I don't know how many they're gonna make, but as they go on, I hope Peter Parker grows older because I want to see Peter Parker as an adult. Like in the new PS4 game, he's like 24 or something like that. So I hope they do that. But good movie. Good movie. Yeah.
My number 3, Spider-Man 3. Because Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man.
Did you put Spider-Man?
That's
You
one-
put Spider-Man
that's the
3 over
worst-
Spider-Verse?
That's the worst Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
And it's better than Spider-Verse.
But all of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Mans are better than everybody else's Spider-Man. So, Spider-Man 3, the worst of the Spider-Man movies, the real Spider-Man movies, but
the real Spider-Man movies. What's
Tobey
that?
Maguire. So he's the actual Spider-Man. Everybody else, So Spider-Man 3, yeah, you have a couple villains that are probably too many. It's a lot of fun though. Spider-Man dances.
Spider-Man dances in Spider-Verse.
He fights with Osborn, the younger Osborn.
Mary Jane's the worst girlfriend ever.
I mean, it's cool. He fights everybody. It's fun. He fights Venom. He fights Sandman. Who's the other villain?
You can't even remember
Venom, Sandman, somebody else, wasn't there?
And Harry.
And Harry. Yeah, but then Harry becomes a good guy.
Oh yeah, that changes the whole game.
3-on-1 to a 2-on-2, and that works out for him. That works out for him.
So you're putting this movie above Spider-Verse just because there's a tag team match at the end?
No, because Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
And that's Spider-Man 3.
Oh my god. Can't believe what I'm hearing. This is pathetic. Well, my number 3 is Spider-Man Far From Home, which... No, let's go back to the Spider-Man 3 thing. Why is Spider-Verse... How is it better than Spider-Verse?
Well, Tobey Maguire made 3 movies,
so
that's number 3.
Are you drunk? Or...
No, I'm totally fine.
Dad, Spider-Verse is like a million times better than Spider-Man 3.
That was okay.
You thought it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't have Tobey Maguire in it, but it was okay.
Oh my god, what a joke. I can't believe this guy. Spider-Verse has amazing animation. What does Spider-Man 3
Yeah,
have?
it's my number 4. Top 5 Spider-Man movie of all time.
There's nine Spider-Man movies. Being in the top 5 isn't a big accomplishment.
It is for me.
Oh wow, congratulations. My number 3 is Far From Home. It's great. I'm sorry, I'm just still in shock from him putting Spider-Man 3 above. I'm still in shock from him putting Venom above Homecoming. Honestly, his list is so out there to me. But Far From Home is really good. Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor and he's great in this movie. And I think my biggest issue is the scene where he's like, "Oh, Peter, if you were good enough, maybe Tony would still be alive." And it's like, okay, here's the thing: the reason Uncle Ben's death affects Peter so much is because Peter could have stopped it, but he didn't because he was an arrogant jerk. But there was nothing he could do about Tony Stark's death. Tony Stark literally had to do that, or the whole universe would have died. So where's the guilt there? It's like, dude, if you didn't do that, if you saved Uncle Ben, then Uncle Ben would still be here. But if you saved Tony Stark, the whole world would be destroyed. Thanos would take over everything. It would just be terrible for everybody. So it's so dumb. I don't like that. But the rest of the movie's good. J. Jonah Jameson makes a cameo in the mid-credits. That's awesome. I really like the movie setting up Spider-Man 3. There's a really intriguing setup. Zendaya, I think that's how you say her name. She was cool. She was a good love interest. It was different. I'm glad they didn't just do the same thing. Yeah, it's a really good movie, and it's got really good action. I really like it, and I'm very excited to see where they go in the future with these Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I don't know if Tom Hardy's going to be in them, but, who knows? It's Sony, and they can do whatever.
Yeah, and I want to touch on your point. Far From Home, the best part of it was J. Jonah Jameson, and why? Because it called back to the original Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
That was the best part. So when I was watching the movie, the best part was when J. Jonah Jameson jumped out, and all of a sudden he was there, and you're like, oh yeah, we got some Spider-Man callback. And so my number 2, obviously, Spider-Man 2. You got Tobey Maguire, you got Dr. Octopus, good storyline, Mary Jane, I mean, you got everything there. That's a Spider-Man movie with J. Jonah Jameson all over the place.
You put
Spider-Man 2, number 2.
You put Spider-Man 1 over Spider-Man 2.
Well, yeah, because that's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2 is way better than Spider-Man 1.
No, Spider-Man 1 has Green Goblin in it.
Oh, well, whoop-de-doo, everyone. Spider-Man 1 has the Green Goblin in it. Give it an Oscar. Spider-Man 2 is way better. than Spider-Man 1.
If it wasn't for Spider-Man 1, there would be no Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Verse.
You heard it here. If there was no
None.
Spider-Man 1, there would be no Spider-Man 2.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow.
Exactly.
I don't understand your arguments here.
JJJ. J. Jonah
Oh
Jameson.
my god. That's like saying if there was no Daredevil season 1, there wouldn't be a Daredevil season 2. Like, of course there wouldn't be.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Oh my god. Okay. Spider-Man 2 is my number 2. Great movie. Great villain.
See? We both have it as number 2.
Because I put Spider-Man 2 above Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 2 is way better than Spider-Man 1. It's got more drama. It's got more action. It's got Dr. Octopus. It's got a great ending. It's got Mary Jane being the worst girlfriend ever. It's got just it's dramatic and it's sad and it's amazing. My only complaint with it is that there's a scene where Peter Parker tells Aunt May, like, hey, Aunt May, you know, Uncle Ben, the reason he died is because of me, and I'm really sorry. And she's like, oh, well, you suck, and then just kind of leaves him, and I don't think Aunt May would do that. But other than that, you know, great movie, great Spider-Man movie, it's everything you want. What's your number 1? We already know what your number 1 is.
Well, I'm just saying, we both agree Spider-Man 2 is the second best Spider-Man movie ever made.
We sure do, but I think Spider-Man 2
Which
is the best.
brings me to my number 1. Spider-Man number 1. First Spider-Man movie, first Tobey Maguire movie, first Green Goblin movie, Spider-Man.
That's it? That's the whole reason it's your number 1, because it was the first one?
Spider-Man.
Number 1 is Spider-Verse. That's the best Spider-Man movie. And you know what's funny is the best Spider-Man movie is the one where it's Miles and not Peter. And I love Peter, but you know this movie. But I love how they did Peter in that movie. They made Peter a loser. They made Peter all fat and depressed, and it was really well done. I loved the difference of animation styles, how they clashed it with black and white and like Warner Brothers and anime. It was really cool. Every shot in that movie you could like make a poster out of. It's just so good.
No, I agree. Spider-Verse is the best non-Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie ever made.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, it's so good. You know, it's so like when it's a need to be emotional, it is. When it needs to be funny, it's funny. When it's great. Great songs, great action. Just it's the best Spider-Man movie, and it really understands the character of Spider-Man that anybody can be Spider-Man. And I really like that.
I mean, if you're gonna watch a Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. They're coming out with the new Doctor Strange movie, and they're bringing Tobey Maguire back for that.
No, they're not. Well, maybe they will, but they haven't confirmed anything, have they?
I think they have. So, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, everything else, optional.
Okay, so this guy's saying that Venom is better than Homecoming, and that's all you need to know. So, that's our ranking. Next ranking, I don't know. It'll probably be either like Star Trek or DC or Pixar. I don't know. It just depends on what we feel like doing. So happy Thanksgiving to you all, and hang out with your families, sit around, and watch a Spider-Man movie. Why not? That's what we're gonna do.
Stay safe.